Good evening and welcome to the special hearing of the Bellevue School District on the recommendation to consolidate Wilburton Elementary School with Clyde Hill and Enetai Elementary School. Today is March 2nd, 2023, and at this time we will start with roll call. If we could please advance the slide.
Jane Aris, Christine Chu,
Seema Sarafan,
Joyce Shuey,
Carolyn Watson,
Superintendent Art Jarvis.
Superintendent Jarvis, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Is there a board director who would like to lead us in the land acknowledgement? Director Chu?
we acknowledge that we are on the indigenous land of the Coast Salish peoples who have reserved treaty rights to this land, specifically the Duwamish and Snoqualmie tribes. We thank these caretakers of this land who have lived and continue to live here since time immemorial. We reflect on the historic context that brings us to reside on this land and accept responsibility to interrupt erasure. We commit to an ongoing partnership with the Snoqualmie tribe as we listen to, learn from, and lead with their guidance.
Thank you, Director Chu. So at this time, I'm going to outline a bit about the purpose of our special meeting. The purpose of this special meeting is to hold a hearing to take public testimony regarding the recommendation to consolidate Wilburton Elementary School with Clyde Hill and Enetai Elementary Schools. Public testimony needs to be specific to this recommendation. The board has already held 2 hearings related to the other recommendations. Any person who wishes to give testimony during this hearing and specific to this recommendation will be able to do so, either here in person or online. Each speaker will be given 2 minutes to testify. Speakers who require interpretation services will be given 4 minutes to testify to take into account the additional time that interpretation takes. Speakers will only be allowed to testify once and will not be able to cede their time to others. If you're in person and you wish to testify, please approach our board coordinator, Ms. Hannah Worth. She's waving her hand over there, if you've not already done so, to sign up to speak. And again, if you decide halfway through or as like towards the latter half, you suddenly want to speak, that's fine. Just walk over, if you would, to Ms. Worth. If you're online and you wish to testify, you're participating remotely, use the hand raise feature and Ms. Worth will provide you further instruction when it's time for you to speak. With respect to any school staff who might testify tonight, we want to remind you of the importance of maintaining the confidentiality of educational information regarding specific students under federal law, as well as Bellevue School District policy and procedure. So please keep in mind that sharing significant details about a particular student, even if you do not use that student's name, is not allowed unless you've been given express written consent by the parents of that student to share their otherwise confidential educational information. We want to ensure that those testifying are aware that this meeting is being live streamed. You can see that up here. And it's recorded. It will be posted online, but additionally, as you can see, media are present and they might separately record you while you testify. We wanted to share with you at the outset that we're here today for a hearing to take public testimony. We as a board are closely listening to learn and understand so that our decision-making on the recommendation that's been made by the superintendent is done with an optimal and good amount of knowledge. It's important for us as a board that we, along with the superintendent and his executive team who are here, have a complete understanding of our community's needs and experiences before we engage in any decision-making on the recommendations that have been put before us right now or that might come later. So to that end, the superintendent and his executive team are here also listening to what you, the community, have to say about this specific recommendation. And they're also engaging in other efforts to capture community feedback. We want to be clear with you at the beginning that we won't be responding to or discussing the testimony given tonight. We as the board will be discussing the recommendation with the superintendent and his executive team at some upcoming meetings. Those include a special and regular board meetings on March 6th, 9th, and 16th. One other thing, you'll see I'll be putting back on a mask, and several of our board colleagues and other staff are wearing masks. That is not because one of us is sick. It's that within our group, we have immune compromised people, and we are wearing those in protection of them. So with that, we're going to begin this evening's hearing regarding the recommendation to consolidate Wilburton Elementary School with the elementary schools of Clyde Hill and Anatai. Ms. Worth, can you please tell us who our first speaker is?
Thank you. We'll start with in-person speakers tonight, and then we'll move to our online speakers. As President Serafan said, when it's time for online speakers, I'll ask that you click the raise hand button. For folks who are in the room, you can see on the big screen that names are in a list. When you see your name is up next, please be ready to jump up and go to that microphone. And we're happy to adjust the table for different heights as well, so we'll be keeping an eye out for that. You'll see the timer that's up on the screen there is set to 2 minutes. At the end of 2 minutes, a chime will go off and we'll ask that you finish your thought and allow the next speaker to come up. We don't want to cut you off mid-sentence, but we do need to respect everyone here by staying on time. With that, we'll start with Daniel.
Hello, school board. I'm Daniel Wren. I'm the vice president of the Wilburton Community Association. I was also on the Citizens Advisory Committee for the Wilburton commercial area in 2017 and 18. This study covered the west edge of Wilburton from I-405 to about 120th Avenue and from Northeast 12th to Southeast 4th Street, all your neighbor here. The result of this committee were found in the Wilburton Commercial Area Study book, which I have here. You can get online if you aren't familiar with it. The main summary of it, I've given a copy of to you, which is the kind of density and housing that will be in that area. The study area is now being implemented in Bellevue Planning Department. They are including even more apartments and more condominiums than were recommended by the original study. The Belred area, just north of Wilburton, is also being redeveloped with much larger and taller buildings for residential use. This zoning is already complete and buildings are being built. Also, the area on the west side of I-405 from Northeast 8th Street to Southeast 8th Street is being developed with more residential uses and near the two light rail stations. With these three areas, all in the Wilburton school zone, coming online in the next few years, there will be a major need for more school capacity. Closing Wilburton School now will only mean that you'll need to reopen it soon. The cost of closing the school and then reopening may be more than the cost of keeping it open in the meantime. If you're not totally familiar with this increase in housing capacity, please talk to the Bellevue Planning Department. There will be more houses, more housing capability added in these three areas than all of, and all in the Wilburton school zone, than in all of the rest of Wilburton, rest of Bellevue combined. That's just within a mile of Wilburton School. So unless you have some selfish reason that you want to close this school in Bellevue, please help us. Please consider keeping Wilburton School open. Thank you for considering the citizens' input and helping us in this matter. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Carrie Hill, and while I serve as the NHI PTSA president, I'm speaking today as a third-generation Bellevue resident and an NHI parent of 11 years. In 2015, I went to a community meeting about building the new NHI and was quite sure that the district was not building the new school big enough. Board member Chris Marks disagreed with me. She said that neighborhoods grow and shrink, that empty buildings are way worse than two full buildings, and it was very, very important not to overbuild. When our new building opened in 2016, I felt I had been proven right. Anatai was so full that we had a fifth kindergarten classroom that had to be housed in our STEM room. 6 years later, it turns out that Ms. Marks was correct as well, as here we are. It is distressing to have a shrinking school, especially when you know that school is providing students an amazing education. We've lost school breakfast at Enitai as we no longer have the critical mass that it takes to support it. I hope with additional students we can bring back school breakfast, which is a boon to families, especially those on the free and reduced lunch program. As we all know, students with full bellies are ready to learn. When Wilburton opened in 2018, the district carved out the downtown area and sent about 100 kids from Enitai to Wilburton. Now the proposed redrawing of the boundaries shows that in order to bring back that same number, we will need to encompass downtown families plus all of the Kelsey Creek neighborhood and still have plenty of room for any families who might return to public school post-pandemic. It is shocking to me that the reach will need to be so far to make up for those who left during the pandemic years. When Wilburton was being planned, the district knew they had to redraw boundaries, but hesitated to send students across 405, as they knew that doing so is a barrier to the creation of communities. While I know that all students who come to Enitai will receive a stellar education, and Enitai will do our level best to make this change as soft a landing as possible, I think requiring so many families to bus their students across the freeway is a really big ask for those families. I urge the district that in any redrawing of boundaries that must be done, that community preservation is at the forefront of decision making. When people say, I bought my house in this neighborhood because I wanted to send my child to this school, what I hear is, I bought my house in this neighborhood because I want my family to be members of this community. Thank you.
I'm here today to voice my frustration at the disingenuous process and criteria used by the BSD to put up schools for closure and empty out its student population in a rush. When Wilburton was opened several years ago, the decision was made based on the promising projections by the demographer that calls for a new school to be built ASAP to solve our dire student overcrowding problems. Fast forward today, we're relying again on the same demographer, the one same person, who is now projecting grim and bleak enrollment data that is arguably unreliable as before to close 3 schools. How could BSD be assured that this would not be another costly mistake and in 2 years' time call out overcrowding as an issue again, putting us all in another cycle of separating children from their schools to insert them into new ones? This unreliable demographic projection used by BSD time and time again should be reviewed by other independent studies, not by the same person, demographer, to ensure we are not simply forming a knee-jerk response to the situation, cherry-picking data to form a picture BSD wants to believe at the expense of our children's educational gain and development stability. Closing schools should never be the first option on the table, but the last for the school district that claims to act in the best interest of its student population. This community knows the entire process was rushed through under 2 months to come to a rapid conclusion as a quick win for BSD's bottom line. Our teachers, children, and educational standards should not be a pawn for BSD's financial mismanagement. I ask that you do the job that you're elected to do. Stop this rushed and arbitrary school closing decision and do what is right by the children, not what is easy.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity today. The decision to close any school should be the last resort, not the first. And it must be based on fair and transparent criteria. Unfortunately, I have serious concerns that the selection process that led to the proposal to select Wilburton was not fair nor transparent. As I wrote in my email to the board, I believe that the district cherry-picked key considerations to promote a specific outcome. Firstly, the district artificially used lower enrollment numbers for Wilburton by only considering students living within the attendance area, while not doing the same for other scenarios. This approach is unfair and distorts the actual enrollment numbers for Wilburton. In addition, the district's own forecast for next year shows that Wilburton's enrollment will be significantly higher than other schools in the area. Also, the claim that former boundaries would return Wilburton students to the previous school communities is misleading, since the entire Wilburton community was previously zoned to Woodridge and not split and sent across I-405 as currently proposed. Third, this scenario would limit and weaken the IPP program for further adoption across the district, which is inconsistent with BSD's own selection criteria to limit the impact on special programs. Therefore, please take action, BSD board, and reassess the analysis that led to the proposal to close the school and instead consider alternatives. Alternatives that would retain the most modern, highest capacity facility in the district for our general education population and not for a choice school or other purposes. Consider an alternative that would keep students together and not split them up and move them in two directions across I-405. Retain the technology-focused program that Wilburton is known for, is equipped, and the staff is trained for. And lastly, broaden the IPP program, not limit it in such an important program. I believe that a more fair and transparent approach is needed and urge the board to take a closer look at the data and key considerations that led to the proposal to close Wilburton Elementary. Thank you very much. Hi, good afternoon, board members, Dr. Jarvis. My name is, thank you. My name is Tim Changlin. I graduated from Issaquah High School in 1994. I went away for college, but have come back and lived in this area. And here's what I want to say to you. I want you to imagine that is now November 2023 or November 2025. Election time. Next to your picture on the voter's pamphlet is a candidate running against you. And in his candidate statement is the following. In March 16, 2023, Seema Serafan, Carolyn Watson, Joy Shui, Christine Chu, Jane Ayres voted to accept the interim superintendent's recommendation to close 3 elementary schools in Bellevue. Schools are Ardmore, Eastgate, Wilburton. Together, these 3 schools serve 1,100 students and their families. 20% of these students receive free and reduced lunch. The district average is 17%. 31% of these students are English learners versus the district average of 25%. 47% of the students impacted speak the first language is other than English versus 44% district-wide. And 10% of the students impacted have special needs versus 8% district-wide. District's recommendation to close schools disproportionately impact students and families with limited means, students and families whose English is not their first language.
To interrupt. That's the end of your time. Thank you.
Yeah, just finish your sentence and then we need to ask you to end, please.
Disproportionately impact students with special needs.
I'm asking you just to end, please. We're just trying not to interrupt you in mid-sentence, but we do need to adhere to our time.
The data I have is here, and I will submit it to, I will leave it up there and submit to you, and I will leave it for anyone who wants to check the data I just cited. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Catherine. I have a 4th grader at Wilburton. Throughout this process, I feel like we've heard a lot about community, and I just wanted to take a couple minutes and share something that is really special to me about the Wilburton community. We have the 2nd highest student mobility rate in the district, second only to Ardmore. Over 40% of our kids either enter or leave mid-year. And over the years, my kids have regularly come home and have told me that a new student has joined or has left their class. And when I ask about the new classmate, I often hear that they're new to Bellevue, they're new to the United States, or they're new to the English language. And when I ask my son, hey, Quentin, like that must be really tough for that kid. What are you doing to be a friend? He'll tell me stories about how the kids of Wilburton step up, right? And these are kids who maybe have only recently moved themselves, right? But kids who speak the same language, Russian and Spanish and Japanese, and all of these beautiful languages that are covered in our school. And whether these kids know it or not, they're bringing this perspective of I've done this and you can do this too. And that is the Wilburton community. That is special to me. We don't have the biggest PTA, I'll give you that, right? But we have kids from all over the world leaning in and helping kids, fostered by this community, right? Our teaching community, who has made the migration that is so critical to our community, to Bellevue, the norm and not an exception, and hopefully creating a community where parents want to stay, right? Which is, I think, all we're trying to work towards here, right? So I say this because the district has approached this as a spreadsheet exercise, right? A budget miscalculation that's being solved with handpicked data. And the flurry of the focus groups that we're seeing right now should have been done 6 months ago, right? That's how you bring the data to life. That's how you understand the unique communities that are in each and every school. So you now have a duty to have meaningful conversations, to listen to and to understand, to appreciate and to directly address the unique complexities of every community. And cramming that essential listening work between now and March 9th is not doing our community justice. Thank you.
For folks online, I'll just point out that if you're hearing silence for a few seconds, it's probably people in the room applauding. Often folks online can't hear that because our room is not wired for sound. We are speaking into microphones and that's what you'll hear. So if you are getting a moment of silence, it's often due to noise in the room happening, like applause. Please go ahead.
My name is Amira and I work as a SNA for ELP department. Today I'm here and ask you, please keep Wilburton Elementary School open. I worked at Medina Elementary School in 2014, and after that I got moved to Wilburton Elementary School in 2018. I was the first one worked at Wilburton, and I had a really good experiences in a school. And I heard this and made me very, very, very sad. I'm very frustrated because I love the school and I want the school to be open. Please give us a chance to keep the school open. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Shara Myers, and I'm the parent of a first grader at Clyde Hill Elementary and the PTA president this year. I'd like to acknowledge that it's a privileged position for Clyde Hill Elementary to not be in consideration for our campus to be closed. Mine is one of the countless families who moved to Bellevue specifically for our public schools. We were in the public school families who stayed enrolled here when it was moved to a remote site during campus remodel. We stayed enrolled during the lockdown days of pandemic into hybrid school days and through the many iterations of returning to buildings full time. Like my family, many of those who are able to show up at these meetings remain faithful to and serve in public schools. We show up to support our kids, our school staff, and the public serving community at large. As a PTA volunteer, I give my time and support in hope that everyone inside of our building has a good experience and receives a quality and equitable education. Everyone who has spoken today and in the days preceding attested to the hard work, dedication, and engagement efforts at each of these schools. Consolidations are going to cause another tremendous disruption for all of the students and staff at each of these affected schools. The proposed consolidation process feels more like a plan for fiscal efficiency rather than a strategy for equitable education or in the service or best interests of our students. With these consolidations, there's no guarantee that any staff familiar with students whose schools are closing go with them. Not only will these students lose their campus and their community as a whole, they will be moved away from the security and comfort from one of their favorite teachers, school assistants that make class time a highlight, or a librarian who knows the right book to choose for them. Please reconsider your consolidation plan and take every bit of well-articulated insights being shared with you during this time. I would like to take a moment to apologize to the staff and families at Wilburton about whispers of animosity towards their students of families by a group at Clyde Hill. I don't know who these members of an antagonistic group are. I can only presume that their words are poorly expressed fear. So many of us are afraid how such changes to our schools are going to impact our students. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kenzie Nethercott. I'm a GSA at Wilburton Elementary School, and I'm reading a letter from Sue Peterson, who is a Bellevue School District teacher and substitute since 2000. As a Bellevue School District substitute at 12 different schools for over the past 4 years, Wilburton is easily one of my top 3 choices for subbing. I believe Principal Chuen May's positive leadership style has a trickle-down effect on the whole school. I'm welcomed, appreciated, and supported by administrators, office staff, teachers, paraeducators, GSAs, and the cafeteria staff. I am continually impressed with the high quality of instruction I see in the classrooms. Please keep the outstanding Wilburton team together in their schools in the years to come. Thank you.
My name is Abigail Horsfall, and I'm here today as a parent of 2 Enitai students, a 3rd grader and a preschooler. At Enitai, we would be privileged to welcome Wilburton students to our community, but I don't know that it's the right thing to do. I have the privilege to understand the system and the structures that we're working within. I'm a district educator and a union leader, as well as a parent, and I don't know what's going on. I don't know why or how this was decided to be the best solution. I don't understand the data that's been presented or the data that has been left out. And I'm just really concerned how we got to be where we are today. I also want to mention that as a preschool parent, I received a registration form for next year, and I was not allowed to select Wilburton as a site for my student, which leads me to believe that it has already been decided that Wilburton will not be open next year. In addition, I want to request that as part of the process to keep students together and to maintain communities and consistency for students, that it is considered as part of the transition planning process and the boundary decisions that are made throughout this process for whatever schools are impacted, and that it's taken into consideration when students move to middle school and to high school so that we don't continue to disrupt friendships between students. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lisa Ross. I've been here a couple of times. First, I'm going to start with saying that the admin proposal is short-sighted, it is premature, and I also think is extremely questionable in their data picking, as several other people have already pointed out. The numbers don't add up. We have enrollment numbers at Wilburton that sustain us to continue to stay open. We have expected enrollment in the future as well. I'd also like to talk about the newest news that came out about Amazon guaranteeing that they're going to fill their 2 Bellevue towers by the end of this year and requiring employees to return to buildings 3 days a week. That alone is going to bring more families coming into the Bellevue area. Back to my argument on this being premature. Your budget is not dire. You have enough budget currently. You're actually better than many other school districts in the state facing similar situations that you could take this next year, leave it status quo as I've been asking you to do so. Let's do some more research. Listen to everything these communities have to do. Look at the actual enrollment. Look at the problems that have been created by having open enrollment, by pulling kids away from their neighborhood schools so they can go to what is perceived to be a better school, that therefore shuts down schools that actually address inclusive issues, equity issues, education issues. Think about ways that you can actually market and make money off of your programs. Wilburton is a computer science program. You don't market it. No one even knows it. It's not on the website. I question how many individuals would take their children from private school and bring them to Wilburton Elementary School if they knew about a computer science program that's interwoven into every single bit of education that these children learn. 71 kids currently attend Wilburton outside of the district, likely because of that reason. You're already seeing success on your Arabic language program. I think you have over 100 people that have enrolled, 75 plus that are out of district. How much can that program grow in the next year while we sit back, take a step, take a breath, listen to everything, and holistically look at the approach? Because again, the data is questionable. The enrollment numbers have been cherry picked. I think that's been raised. Again, I don't think your budget is dire. I think we can all just stop and wait. If you can't and you must close a school, then keep schools whole. Woodridge could go to Ennetai or Woodridge could go to Wilburton. Woodridge to Wilburton does not mean you have to bus kids across 405. It keeps all the kids together in one school. Wilburton was built to house said school. Utilize the irreplaceable resource that is Wilburton. Don't close it. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Nari Narvani Ganati. I'm a mom of a third grader at Wilburton. First of all, I want to give a shout out to this amazing staff over here. Wilburton folks, we love you. I agree with everything that has been said today, from cherry picking the data to the rushing of the process and the lack of transparency from BSD. And of course, that closing schools should be the absolute last option. Wilburton is a modern facility, as Lisa just mentioned, and is the only Microsoft Showcase elementary school. We have a tech-heavy focus. This whole situation has been incredibly rushed and has created a really bad look for BSD. There's so much negative feedback, and can be really damaging to BSD's reputation. Go online if you haven't already and read all the negative feedback that is out there. Lisa mentioned Amazon. There's a lot of other offices that are requiring return to offices. I work for a company that is requiring a return to office 3 days a week. My friends, a ton of them, work for tech companies that used to allow work from home and remote. They don't anymore. They are all requiring 3 days a week return to office. Has any of that been taken into consideration? Our kids have been through so much through the pandemic and its non-deniable negative effects. BSD, you've always valued mental health. Is that not true? Then keep Wilburton open. Don't tear friendships apart. Don't create anxiety for our kids. Our kids deserve better. Do better. Thank you.
My name is Carter Gray, and I have a third grader at Wilburton. First and foremost, thanks for the service that you all do for the city. If you look around, and I hope and just encourage you to look at the other schools. I grew up here in Bellevue. The Wilburton school is a great school. And I hope you're looking and considering actually reading the room and the vibe of the schools, because what you experience there is fantastic. So I would just encourage you, if you haven't spent the time, to spend the time at the schools and observing the community and the sense of the quality education at the schools. And I think what you'll find is the difference of Wilburton is a big difference. So I hope that you do, if you haven't, take the time to dig into that and understand the culture of what everyone's trying to say is spot on from my perception of growing up and having friends in the Bellevue School District, which has come a long way from when I was young and a boy in the Bellevue School District. So kudos for the improvements that have been made over the years, and understanding that it is a population or a statistical issue of children, but just make the right decision as far as which ones you are, if you are closing them, because you can't duplicate the culture, the sense of community, the quality of that. And I think you're going to be changing yourself by doing that with Wilburton. Just pay attention to it would be my ask.
My name is Kelly Jardine, and I'd like to thank you also for the work you do. And I do appreciate the concern and the responsibility to be fiscally responsible, and I think that's very important. But I've been a parent here in the Bellevue School District for 22 years. 4 of my children have graduated, and I currently have 8 enrolled in the district. When this started happening, I kind of thought, well, I only have 5 more years before I graduate from elementary, so it's not that big of a deal. I was shocked when I heard that this school was going to be closed. Also, I thought, well, they'll just send me back to Woodridge. But when Woodridge wasn't even an option, I was completely floored. So now I've been moving my kids around elementary schools from Woodridge to Wilburton. And now my 4th grader, who began as a kindergartner at Wilburton, will be potentially going off to a school that we've never even considered as an option. It's actually a little bit disconcerting as a member of this Wilburton community living here in the neighborhood that we will have actually 2 schools in our neighborhood that my children will not be able to attend because of the special situations for those schools. And also as a parent, I'd like to know actually what are the plans for this school if you close it. It's been a wonderful community with great faculty and great teachers and staff and a great program. And I'm so grateful to all of them. And I'm grateful for the school district for all they've done for my children. But I am a little bit concerned about the change that's being brought upon us so rapidly. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Elizabeth Roberts, and I'm a teacher librarian and founding member at Wilburton Elementary. According to the district value of integrity, it does not make sense to close Wilburton. I want to acknowledge that BSD has real budget shortfalls and decisions to make, and those decisions need to be made with more integrity and equity. Through reading, watching, and attending everything, I can logically see why the 3 schools were chosen, including Wilburton. And in the end, if Wilburton is still closed after an equitable process, we will move forward supporting our students, families, and schools. However, I believe that this has not been equitable, humane, or done with integrity. Our website lists integrity as we earn trust through consistently and accountably following through on our commitments and by addressing our shortfalls. Additionally, in Board Policy 0130, it says the board commits to work with the district to apply a consistent collection of critical criteria to any board approval of district plans, budgets, and curriculum materials. The consolidation report includes a critical criteria review. We can do better. Creating a list of pros and cons is not a critical criteria review. For example, under potential harm for students and families, it lists increased district distance and travel times for some students. Yes, this is a true statement, but where is the equity lens being applied here? Did anyone mention that the impact of increased distance and travel time potentially has larger impact on our marginalized families? The risk mitigation listed for this potential harm is transport provided. Again, we can do better. When we can look at a problem and quickly come up with a simple solution like provide transportation, problem solved, we are perpetuating harm. We are causing harm by not taking into consideration the multiple perspectives and complex realities of our diverse working families with young children. We are allowing the power and privilege of those who have flexibility to drive a bit further or rearrange their schedules to win over the needs of those for whom this creates an extra burden. I do believe and understand we need to do something, but if we want to live our mission, values, and follow our own policies, we need to re-examine the current recommendations and ask, are these recommendations truly equitable? Are we valuing each other's humanity? And are we leading with integrity? For this reason,
Thank you. That's
at
the end
this
of your
time,
time.
I think it would be a mistake to close Wilburton. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Kirsten Pickering, the Instructional Technology Curriculum Leader at Wilburton. I've worked in Bellevue for 26 years, and I'm a founding member of Wilburton. According to the district priority of high-quality instruction, it does not make sense to close Wilburton. Wilburton was built on the foundation of relationships, high-quality instruction, collaboration, and innovation. Closing Wilburton would set the progress that BSD has invested in to create a world-class school district back several years. Wilburton is one of 42 Microsoft Showcase schools in the United States. Each year, we complete a nomination process that highlights our work, learning, as we leverage instructional practices, technology, and collaboration to provide exceptional learning for each and every student. Being in Microsoft Showcase School means we're committed to taking risks, learning new things, being innovative in the way that we serve students. It also means we're committed to sharing our learning and innovation with others in the district, country, and world. We've hosted tours and shared our work with groups of educators from Australia, Brazil, Taiwan, Malaysia, the Netherlands, and educators from around the United States. At Wilburton, each teacher is trained and committed to integrating computer science. This provides access for each and every student that attends Wilburton. It is not reserved for the privilege of choice. Training teachers and supporting development of classroom integration doesn't happen overnight. Training on computer science, computational thinking, as well as ongoing individualized coaching, collaboration has gone into developing beliefs and knowledge of this instruction. The seamless integration of science, technology, engineering design, and computational thinking are part of the fabric of Wilburton. If BSD is committed to promoting computer science and STEM integration, you have it here at Wilburton. Wilburton is ready to welcome any student into our community. Our commitment to innovation has helped us find solutions to provide high quality learning and
I'm sorry,
accessibility.
please finish your sentence.
It would be a mistake to close Wilburton. Thank you.
My name is Sarah Kim, and I teach fourth grade at Wilburton Elementary School. I'm a founding staff member of this school. According to the district priority of high quality instruction, it does not make sense to close Wilburton. Wilburton is an inclusion school. We welcome all students without question and no matter their background. We accommodate for all students, no matter their abilities or needs. We serve them here at Wilburton Elementary with our inclusionary practices and innovation. Inclusionary practices are best practices for students. Students who may typically be recommended for a centered program based on their needs are served here at their home school. Inclusion at Wilburton means recognizing each and every child as an individual and celebrating success and growth that is unique to each child. Inclusion at Wilburton means fostering a beloved community. In my general education classroom, I support advanced learning students, students with IEPs and 504 plans, multi-language learners who speak over 7 different home languages, and students with a wide variety of assets. Innovation and universal design for learning provide access for each student in our school. From technology like an iPad with a core board to provide access to students who need support with communication, to PowerPoints with language translation for a new student to the classroom, ST Math that allows students to solve problems and do math regardless of language or ability, and the opportunity to show their learning in meaningful ways. For example, a social emotional learning concept through Scratch Junior projects, or integrating learning about circuits with physical computing with the Makey Makeys. Collaboration and partnership among colleagues provide opportunity to create impactful learning experiences for our students. All of our staff, from admin to classroom teachers, special education teachers, success team, computer science facilitator, GSAs, and paraeducators take ownership of our students' success.
I'm sorry, please finish your
it
thought.
would be a mistake to close Wilburton. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Devin Weaver, and I empower fifth grade students at Wilburton Elementary. I am also a member of the Student Wellbeing team. According to the district priority of student well-being, it does not make sense to close Wilburton. In the Bellevue School District, all schools are required to gather student feedback by completing a social and emotional well-being survey called the Panorama. While this survey provides valuable data, it is also limited because it is only for students in grades 3 through 5. It does not have accessibility features for students with disabilities and cannot be translated to all the languages we have at our school. Because of this, the student well-being team at Wilburton chose to design our own social and emotional well-being survey to intentionally include all student voices, including primary students in grades K through 2, students with disabilities, and students who speak various languages. In this survey, we gathered the following set of data points from student voices. 94% of students at Wilburton feel welcomed by their classmates and connected to their teachers, while the district average on the Panorama is only 72%. 96% of students at Wilburton feel like they can work successfully with others and have a friend in their classroom, as compared to the district average of only 74%. And 99% of students at Wilburton say that they can be kind to someone in their classroom, while the district average is 86%. Along with this survey, 100% of classrooms at Wilburton also have calm down spaces integrated in the room to support student emotional regulation, more inclusion, and less time spent out of the classroom. And all grade levels have pod spaces intentionally set up for students to choose their own learning space. Clearly, Wilburton is a welcoming space where students feel affirmed, inspired, and are thriving. For this reason and many others, it would be a mistake to close Wilburton.
My name is Mandy Sin, and I'm a first grade teacher at Wilburton. According to the district priority of maintaining exceptional staff, it does not make sense to close Wilburton. I'm a product of Bellevue School District. After I immigrated from Hong Kong to Bellevue at age 9, I attended Woodridge, Tyee, and Newport High School. I loved my time in the district as a student. I'm grateful for the way that this Bellevue School District not only supported my family and I in navigating a new and unfamiliar education system, but also prepared me into adulthood successfully. I felt seen, heard, and I was proud to have graduated from a district that owned up to their priority of equity and inclusion. I remember graduating as a senior in 2013 thinking, I'm going to get my teaching degree and I'm going to come back and teach for Bellevue. And I did just that. I completed my student teaching assignment at my previous elementary school, Woodridge, and then had the opportunity of opening a brand new elementary school in our district, Wilburton. And this is my 5th year teaching at Wilburton, and Wilburton's community is committed in empowering teachers of color and lifting marginalized voices. I get to come to work every day alongside peers that look like me and share the same values as me. Just like my time as a student in BSD, I continue to feel seen, heard, and valued. I know that I matter here, and this time I have all these feelings as a staff. I also know firsthand that other teachers of color across the district do not have the same experience. Wilburton does and consistently retain a staff made up of nearly 45% marginalized identity. I'm also grateful to work alongside 2 incredible admin of color, very rare in this profession. Our community has repeatedly presented and communicated the need to support educators and families of color. This decision to close Wilburton while promoting a vision of equity does not make me feel seen, valued, or proud. It makes me feel disrespected, like an afterthought. How can BSD claim a mission to retain teachers of color while also planning to close Wilburton? Closing Wilburton completely invalidates BSD's value of maintaining exceptional staff. It would be a mistake to close Wilburton. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Santasha Dute, and I have the privilege of teaching first grade at Wilburton Elementary. According to the district priority of maintaining exceptional staff, it does not make sense to close Wilburton. The district has a commitment to hiring diverse staff. As a teacher of color myself, when I entered this profession 4 years ago, I prepared myself that I would be walking into a building with very few colleagues who looked like myself. However, when I walked into Wilburton, I was first greeted by my then assistant principal, an incredible woman of color, and welcomed into my first grade team that of the 5 of us, 4 of us were educators of color. Not only do I see staff that look like me every day, we have created a culture that retains our staff of color. I've seen our BIPOC affinity group double in size over the past 4 years, and I have had the amazing honor of serving under 2 incredible admin of color, something that is extremely rare in this profession. There is so much that I cannot say in 2 minutes about our incredible culture, how much RAI work we do in our school, and for what we have contributed to our district with our equity-centered professional development. The only way that I can sum it up is that because of our incredible staff and the culture we have created at our school, we are a school that is living our district's values and mission. As I'm sure you know by now, this decision to close 3 elementary schools has had so many unanswered questions, a lack of clarity, and feels like decisions have been made months prior without so many of us not having a seat at the table. There has also been so much misinformation. Our staff and families were told that we as teachers would be following our students. However, with how our placement process works in the district and our teaching contract, this is far from a guarantee. How are we also supposed to maintain our strong culture we have built when we as our staff will be spread apart? I ask that you demand a new proposal that keeps communities together, a proposal that has allowed all voices to be heard, especially from those who are furthest from educational justice, and a proposal that shines light to the values we have worked so hard to uphold. It would be a mistake to close Wilburton.
My name is Hiromi Okamura Lorenz. I'm the clinical social worker at Wilburton Elementary. I also provide case management for Chinook Middle School and Bellevue High School, and I'm a member of the elementary MHAT, the mental health assistance team. So Wilburton Elementary has a priority on inclusion. All abilities are seen in every classroom, and for family and community, the entire school is accessible and flexible. So transportation is provided for students and their families for evening and community events. Funding is creative for all participants, for them to participate without any cost. The staff is committed to being trauma-informed. They actively listen, respect every emotion, they adjust, and they really take care of each other. So my work has been to empower students and the families who are unhoused, to eliminate barriers to resources and to services, and help them to adapt to the often mundane rigors of school days. When overcoming those barriers and accessing services is delayed, which has become very common in our community, I will provide the treatment for anxiety, depression, child trauma, and child behavior problems directly to the students in our school as well as to their parents. MHAT has been a successful program. So we've been screening 635 elementary students so far this year, providing consultation to staff at each elementary school. And MHAT expanded significantly at the elementary level due to ESSER funds, and those end in June of this year. So we do not at this time have additional funding lined up to replace the shortfall. And student mental health is not being prioritized. So coming from almost 20 years of child welfare, forensic, and medical social work prior to joining BSD last school year, this is a tragedy for our students. My position ends, but staff that is collaborative, committed, welcoming, innovative, and put their training into practice at Wilburton cannot be transferred, and Wilburton should not be closed.
My name is Kelsey Baldwin, and I am one of the multilingual learner facilitators at Wilburton. According to the district priority of climate and culture, it does not make sense to close Wilburton. Since October, we have welcomed 61 new students, including 27 since January. On a weekly basis, we welcome between 3 to 7 new students to our Wilburton community. We continuously work to improve our systems, striving to provide a welcoming climate and culture to our new community members. We are innovative in our efforts to welcome new families to our community, and we are always placing climate and culture at the forefront. I have the privilege of welcoming new families with a school tour when they start their first day at Wilburton. 64% of the families that we have welcomed to our community are multilingual. We value and encourage multilingualism and appreciate the tremendous assets that linguistic diversity brings to our community. I am honored to hear a beautiful melody of the dozens of languages spoken throughout the spaces in our school each day. As a school that comfortably welcomes new community members on a regular basis and who is committed to providing a sense of belonging for all, we are an ideal school to continue welcoming community members with the systems and beliefs that we consistently carry out to build our strong Wilburton culture. It would be a mistake to close Wilburton.
My name is Kelly Wynn. I'm an educator of 20+ years, working in 2 different school districts and proudly on the staff of Wilburton as a 3rd grade educator. As a budget shortfall has quickly surfaced, how the shortfall gets addressed and handled is the issue at hand. Given that our acting superintendent, Dr. Jarvis, has addressed the media and stated that no final decision has yet been made, we are beyond grateful to address our 5 elected school board members today with precisely why Wilburton is not something we want to dissolve, and even worse, how this process has been flawed, impacting our students who struggle the most. A district priority stated in organizational alignment as we are all moving in the same direction to improve outcomes for each and every student. Our current district organizational chart has been removed from the website, stating the 2022-23 organizational charts are currently being reviewed. Once updated, they will be added to this space. Think about that. We're in the process of impacting hundreds of families with disruption and change, and we do not have a posted, visible BSD organizational chart. Our website goes on to state we will implement equitable staffing processes that align to school and student needs, and yet equity is what's been left out of this decision-making process. It isn't fear of Wilburton closing that compels me to speak to you today. Rather, it's precisely how equity and equitable staffing processes have been ignored. I originally came to the BSD as a dean of students. In that capacity, I've advocated for students in a whole host of issues. The district has paid for hundreds of employees to begin the journey of better understanding embedded systemic racism and how to disrupt it. Our district has a director of equity, Shamari Jones. You must ask yourselves why our director of equity hasn't had a transparent and vital seat at the table as this decision-making process has transpired. He's not on the executive board. The very first words uttered around equity in this endeavor came from our incoming superintendent, Dr. Aramaki. While I'm optimistic and grateful that Dr. Aramaki is our new leader and he is someone who is committed to equity for all voices, this current process doesn't follow our district priority specified in organizational alignment. We must care about our most vulnerable students. It is a mistake to close Wilburton Elementary.
Just so everybody knows, we're gonna hear from the speaker and then we're gonna take a short recess.
Hello again. My name is Shane Monroe. I empower 5th graders at Wilburton Elementary. I'm one of our building union reps, and I'm on just about every leadership team we have. So I know my school very well. According to BSD's district priorities laid out by my peers, it does not make sense to close Wilburton. I want to share our school's vision statement with you to offer insight into how equity and inclusion are woven into all that we do as a beloved community. Wilburton Elementary School strives to affirm, inspire, and empower all members of our school community by creating an inclusive environment that elevates student voice and prioritizes an authentic sense of belonging across all school spaces. We are committed to elevating marginalized voices, honoring multiple perspectives, and standing in solidarity with historically marginalized communities. We will know we have successfully met the goals of our community vision when all students, staff, and community members feel supported, respected, and acknowledged within all spaces of our school and community. This is how Wilburton Elementary brings all of the district's priorities to life. How will you, moving forward, bring all of the district's priorities to life? How will we collectively, as a school district, a community, a city, a collective, bring the district priorities to life? It would be a mistake to close Wilburton.
Okay, so we will be taking a break and returning to begin promptly at 5:45 p.m. Any of you who wish to stay, who've already spoken, you're welcome to stay, but I don't want you to think that you need to stay. It's completely up to you. If you're debating whether or not you'd like to speak, feel free to check in with Ms. Worth. You can give your name. And those listening online, the same also. Please let Ms. Worth know if you'd like to speak. So we will resume promptly at 5:45. Thank you. Have it ready.
I'll just take the opportunity to say for those online, if you'd like to speak tonight when we get to online commenters, please go ahead and click the raise hand button. As a couple people have already done, it looks like the white outline of a hand. It'll be in different places on your screen depending on what kind of device you're using, but it should look like an outline of a hand no matter where you are. Thank you.
Okay, we are resuming our hearing to consolidate Wilburton Elementary School with Clyde Hill and Enetai Elementary Schools. At this time, we will ask our next person, who I think is Sam Radix, to please step up. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Samantha Radix. I am a second grade teacher at Wilburton Elementary, and I'm speaking on behalf of a former employee who could not make it tonight. My name is Kiersey Rolfsred Sheeran, Sammamish class of 82, mother of 3 BHS graduates, BSc employee from 2016 through 2022. I would like to say a few words about the closure of Wilburton Elementary. Wilburton is a diverse school with the first elementary school in the district with a full inclusion SPED model. It is the first U.S. school many new immigrants go to. It is also home to kids from the Mary's Place shelter. I was an employee at the school for its first 4 years, and I saw firsthand how committed its staff is to serving its diverse student body, working to meet each child where they are in their development. There are many examples of how the teachers and staff do this, but I'm going to focus on one area that is personally meaningful to me. I got to support Josh Nova's 3rd grade class at a field day at the face painting station. I noticed 2 girls painting flags on their arms, and I asked them about what the flags meant. The first girl said, "Mine is a lesbian flag because I identify as a lesbian." The other said that her flag was a non-binary flag because she wasn't sure yet and felt more comfortable identifying as non-binary. I told them that one of my children is trans. Their response was, "Congratulations, you need a trans flag." The whole time this conversation was going on, we were surrounded by their teacher and their classmates, none of whom reacted negatively. They just went on with what they were doing because this is normal. This is a direct result from having a teacher in a school that respects the right of all children to be who they are and making inclusiveness and respect for others a priority. This is not true of the rest of the district. I recently told an elementary school AP that my child was trans, and they flinched and walked away. I wish I could say I was shocked. My child has some mental health struggles which directly relate to having to hide their identity from their peers out of fear of bullying and rejection. They never felt safe and only had one teacher at BHS who could confine in. One teacher. At Wilburton, it's all teachers. The district talks about inclusion and equity, yet we prioritize specialized schools for gifted children. You just need to look at the statistics about free and reduced lunch and special education at these schools to see this is true. Wilburton should not close.
Hello, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Megan Bechtold, and I'm the office manager and founding member of Wilburton Elementary. The Planning for the Future School Consolidation Report that was presented to you on February 9th, it states that all 18 elementary schools were considered for consolidation using the following criteria. First among them was current and projected enrollment, but those numbers as they relate to Wilburton are incorrect. On page 6, the district shows Wilburton's enrollment at 350 students as of October 3rd, 2022. On page 9 of the report, there is a note that says, quote, "There are 71 Wilburton students living outside the attendance area and will be consulted prior to placement," end quote. Since I'm the office manager, I knew that number was incorrect. If you subtract 71 from 350, that means Wilburton has 279 students who live in its attendance area. I ran a report in Synergy asking for all open enrolled or students living outside our attendance area. The report gave me 76 names. As I looked at the names, I saw that there were quite a few duplicate names and quickly deduced that those names were those of students who had been attending Wilburton for more than 1 year. For example, a 5th grade student has been open enrolled at Wilburton for 5 years, thus their name is listed 5 times when they should only be counted once. I found names of students who were at one time open enrolled but are now living in our attendance area. Here are the facts. We have a total of 38 students who are open enrolled. 15 of those students are children of Bellevue School District employees. If you subtract 38 from 350, that brings us to 312 students who live in Wilburton's attendance area. That would move Wilburton out of the bottom 3 in enrollment. I have emailed Melissa DeVita 3 times since February 9th, asking her to please send me the names of the 71 open enrolled students at Wilburton. I even asked her if she didn't have the names to please direct me to the person who has them. I have yet to receive even an acknowledgement of my question. If the numbers were correct, the answer would be simple and swift. Has anyone vetted or audited the underlying statistics in this report? I'm aware that something needs to be done budget-wise, but how can anyone vote to approve this proposal knowing there is even one error in the report? We've been told all along that our comments matter, but it is clear that decisions have been made long ago and in a disingenuous manner based on incorrect statistics. I implore you to vote no on this proposal. It would be a mistake to close Wilburton. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Karina Cantu, and I am the school secretary and attendance person at Wilburton Elementary School. I would like to start by thanking the board for taking the time to be here and hear us in this unfortunate situation we are in. I started working at Wilburton when it first opened with our office manager. I had the privilege of seeing our students and community grow. Our logo on our shirt state, #WeAreFamily, and that is because that is what we are. I believe the foundation of our kids' education, social and emotional skills start at an elementary level. We are the first building block to helping them grow. I still cannot believe our school was selected to close, a new, energy efficient, diverse, and inclusive school that we worked so hard to build. The BSD mission states, and I quote, to serve each and every student academically, socially, and emotionally. I don't believe that is being done if you're separating our school and dividing our students into 2 different schools. This will affect our students socially by separating them from friends and emotionally by separating them from their school, where routine is vital for our students. If consolidating is necessary, then elect for school to come our way. Our building is large enough to house an entire existing school community, meaning no students are separated. Our doors are open and we welcome anyone. Thank you for your time.
Hello, my name is Sophia Roberts. I'm a 5th grader at Wilburton Elementary. I have 2 brothers in 2nd grade. I started in 2018, the year Wilburton Elementary opened, when I was in 1st grade. As a 5th grader, I will be going to middle school next year. However, I feel great sorrow for everyone here, knowing that Wilburton may not be open next year. While I have been lucky to attend Wilburton for 5 out of my 6 years of elementary school, I'm extremely sad to know that our first graduating class, our current 4th graders, may not be able to have the last year in our building to complete the 6 years in our school. Wilburton is the newest community since 1972. That is 51 years ago. This means that Wilburton has been open for 5 years only. Despite this fact, our community at Wilburton is extraordinarily strong in happiness, care, and safety. At this school, I've made lots of amazing connections with students and teachers. Everyone here is kind and supportive, and I love my school. Wilburton is very welcoming to new students. Most of the students at Wilburton came when I was in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. The majority of Wilburton is new students, and I take pride in knowing that my school is inclusive. Furthermore, Wilburton is a Microsoft Showcase school. This means that Microsoft brings visitors from all around the world to see the innovative education that we as students receive at Wilburton. Also, in Mr. Monroe's class, my classmates and I got to test a new tool that Code.org is making. Then, we got to make them suggestions to make their product better. While the laptops at Wilburton are not unique like they used to be, the years I've had learning how to use technology to improve my learning has been a one-of-a-kind experience at Wilburton. Thank you for listening.
Let's just lift up. All right, got it. All right. Joshua Nova, 4th grade teacher at Wilburton. I want to tell you my 2-minute Wilburton story. I was involuntarily transferred from Woodridge due to seniority. I grew to deeply love Woodridge for a number of reasons. It was heartbreaking that I had to leave, but I had hope that I'd find meaning in what was to come next. Wilburton was my first choice, and I got it. It was the second year Wilburton was open. I chose Wilburton because of what it was: highly innovative, technologically superior, full of risk-taking. It had a diverse staff, and it was inclusive of all students. Being a new school, it had elements that needed a lot of work: culture and climate, a stronger union presence. The PTA was doing its best to bring us together to celebrate as a community and make students' lives more enriched. Then I got to be part of what it became. More collaboration, more vulnerability, an incredible administration of color, and a staff completely devoted to equity in everything we do. Students unafraid to be who they are. A PTA that has grown exponentially and has made tremendous contributions to our community, and so much more. I saw this district strategic plan realized within Wilburton. It wasn't and isn't perfect, but it's there. Smash cut to finding out the district has put that realization finally come to fruition on the cutting block. At first, I felt hopeless. Now I'm enraged and terrified at where our priorities lie. In addition, we've been provided with two options: accept our fate, be dispersed throughout the district, lose that type of diverse and progressive community that every school can benefit from, or fight for what we know is right and risk many jobs that are primarily held right now by educators of color. I refuse to believe that those are the only two options. But this is also where I ask you to look deeper at what's happening here. Many of those jobs that would be lost are right here at Wilburton. And despite knowing that, there are still those staff members who are here tonight fighting for what's right. What's equitable for students, families, and staff, what we as Bellevue so desperately need right now. I'm so very proud of my colleagues and families and the students.
Hi, I'm Lauren. My name is Lauren Gray. I have a third grade at Wilburton Elementary. Since the email that was sent out January 11th, 2023, which stated consolidation of facilities also opens the doors to utilize modern, appropriate vacated schools to meet the needs of schools awaiting replacement facilities, namely Big Picture School, Jingmei, and International School, the community of Wilburton Elementary has felt like we are seen as just a building. If you look at internet groups such as Nextdoor, Facebook, and even Discord, Wilburton Elementary is repeatedly called repurposed and overflow. Wilburton Elementary has a capacity for 744 students before having the need to use portables. According to the lowest current enrollment, October 2022, that was presented at a board meeting, Wilburton had 353 students and Woodridge had 296. If you brought both student bodies together at Wilburton, that would be 649 students. We would still have room for roughly 100 students before needing to have portables brought in. And most importantly, both student communities would be able to stay together with their peers, making this transition less traumatic than it needs to be. Wilburton Elementary is a Microsoft Showcase school, but I don't think many people realize what that means. Instead of these students getting 30 minutes a week of computer science, it's integrated into their learning 5 days a week. Wilburton Elementary School should be used by the district to spotlight why you would want to enroll your child into the Bellevue School District and how fantastic a general education elementary school can be. In our own way, Wilburton is almost like we have a choice program, except for you don't have to test into this one, and everyone is welcome if they would like to join.
Hi, my name is Lindsay Dugan, and I'm a parent of a fourth grader who started his kindergarten year at Wilburton Elementary in 2018. I've been an active participant throughout this whole process, and I was fortunate enough to speak at the last special session. I had 5 minutes to state my case, and throughout this whole process, our community has continued to question the data and share their concerns with the timeline. We as a community have worked hard and spent time combing through all of this information in our spare time, hoping to save our school. At the last meeting, I even proposed a new scenario that was not in the deck that was presented. We could welcome Woodridge into our diverse and inclusive community. My proposal seemed to get the attention of the board, which even I even got some questions about afterwards. Today, we have heard from our incredible staff that I cannot believe that this board thinks that they can just merge them into other schools and keep the sense of community. We have heard all the reasons that make Wilburton an asset to this district and why closing Wilburton would be a mistake and not align with the district values. Closing Wilburton would be a mistake.
Hi, my name is Marina and I work as a para-educator at the Wilburton Elementary at the Special Education Department. We support our kids with different medical conditions, with ADHD, with anxiety, dyslexia, seizure disorders, trauma, executive functioning. We spend a lot of time helping our kids to learn and to grow academically, socially, and emotionally. In our school, we have a mindset to have all our students a sense of belonging, which is extremely important for the kids with disabilities. For the most of our special needs kids, Wilburton become their second home and their safe harbor. Our department creating a caring community of learning. It is crucially important for our special needs kids to know that they will be able to come back to their school after summer break. They deserve it, and they need to know that they will be supported by Wilburton staff.
Thank you for letting me speak. My name is Akma Gerzik. I'm parent of third grader, and I had two other kids in the school district. Also, I was proud employee of 10 years for the Bellevue School District and Interlake High School, Tye Middle School, Eastgate Elementary. Right now, I am cancer fighting. I have a special need, and all of this is getting more stress, anxiety, depression, everything just on our chest. My child comes home every single day and say, would I see Miss Radix? Would I see Miss Megan? How I'm gonna see my principal? Where the car is gonna go to school? Is Maya go to my class? How are they gonna talk to me? She's very shy. She doesn't get along with everybody. She's a special. Let's put it that way. She's my special child. But all of the staff in Wilburton Elementary, I can't be more grateful and thankful what they did for my family alone. And I'm sure I'm not the one person in this Wilburton School District to face these challenges. So I don't think it's the right way to close the school. We should look more deeply. Like you said, the budget is not the final. The governor won't close funding. There is always an option. I think we put in more burden on families and kids than we helping. And for me to try to drive my child across the freeway is just adding more stress, not just on me, just on my kid. But I just want to say thank you, Wilburton staff, and please don't close our school.
Good evening. My name is Victor Stover, and I'm a BSD parent. I'm here tonight because I believe that the district's process for school consolidation is not in compliance with policy 0130, equity and accountability. That policy states that the district shall apply a consistent collection of critical criteria approved by the board and specified in an accompanying procedure to the construction of district-wide and program-specific plans and budgets, among other things. In the accompanying procedure, it states that among other criteria, the following will be considered in the creation and review of all district-wide and program-specific plans. Which student groups, e.g., racial, ethnic, students with disabilities, English language learners, are most affected by this? What are the potential impacts on these groups? Does this ignore or worsen existing disparities or produce other intended or unintended consequences that may impact any particular student groups? How? The critical criteria review in the recommendations report does not consider these criteria. It instead takes a very superficial look at how students will benefit or be harmed by the recommendations. There's no doubt the students at schools proposed for closure will be negatively impacted in some ways. The district has the information needed to determine what student groups are most affected by this recommendation, but has not shared that information. It could also conduct equitable engagement with potentially affected student groups to gather more information. Before it makes a decision, I'm asking the school board to require that district leadership conduct a critical criteria review that complies with district policy, to be open about which student groups will benefit or be harmed by the recommendations, and to give the community an opportunity to review and respond to those recommendations. Thank you.
Just hang on, we'll fix it for you. Just 1 second.
Hi, my name is Tessa, and I am a fifth grader at Wilburton. Even though I'm leaving next year and your actions will not affect me, I have so many friends and neighbors who will be affected. You are splitting apart years of friendships, bonds, and memories. I see so many kids of different backgrounds every day working together to create projects, great ideas, and have a good time. Think about those kindergarteners who just started making friends and relationships. They started a new school and now another. Think about the fourth graders who want to graduate with their friends at their side. How do you think they will be affected? The first and second and third graders will be affected the same, if not more. I think it's a mistake to close Wilburton.
Hello, my name is Jenny Cochran-Chin. I have 3 kids at Clyde Hill. I would like to say that the quality of education that children receive is completely dependent on the quality of the educators in the building. And clearly, the educators at Wilburton are amazing. So whatever you do, please make sure to listen to the educators and the staff at Wilburton and all these schools because they know what is best for these children.
And I have reached the end of the list of folks that have signed up with me who are in the room. So at this time, I'll turn to our online comments.
Before you do that, I'm just going to go ahead and ask the room, is there anyone else in the room who would like to speak who has not already spoken? It would be helpful if you are thinking about that to go ahead and right after Ms. Worth starts getting the people online to speak, you can give your name, and then we can take you after we go through them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. It looks like we do have one person who's going to walk up there. And first, I will say, if you are online and wish to speak, please press the raise hand button so that we know you are there. It should look like the outline of a hand. It will be in different places on your screen depending on the device you're using, but it should look like the outline of a hand on any device. If you are having any technical difficulties, including with raising your hand, there's an email on screen, communityforums@bsd405.org. You can email that and we'll do our best to get you speaking. Okay, thank you.
Do we have the name so we can write it up there?
Hi, my name is Munira Susei. I'm working at Wilburton and I'm a parent of the BSD school district as well. This is my first year working in this school and I am very, very happy and proud to be working with such a wonderful staff and principal, amazing people, amazing parents. And I just want to say, please do not close this school. Thank you.
Just if you don't mind, hang on. We're going to prefer
Sure.
that you check in so that we can also get your name properly written. So Ms. Worth, I'm happy to take the people that you have online and then we can, so if they've been waiting, the people online.
Hey there, my name is Sid Barak.
I'm sorry, we just need to wait so we can also properly get your name up here.
Sure.
Okay, I just want to make sure, Ms. Worth, are we ready to take the speaker at the podium or? Okay, all right, we'll go ahead and do that and then we'll switch to the people online. Thank you.
All right, hey, my name is Sid Barak. I'm the parent of 3 kids in the Bellevue School District. My youngest goes to Wilburton and the other 2 go to International. But it's been very interesting to see the whole process in terms of how the decision was made to build the school, going back in time, and now how it's being made to basically bus kids around to different schools from this one. So with that in mind, it feels like it's a fairly hasty decision. It's not something that's well thought out. I think the last time I was here, and my apologies, I'm late, but I haven't seen a good rationale for why one school stays open when that could be combined in its entirety with the Wilburton Elementary as it sits today. And again, I don't fully understand that. From an economic standpoint, I get that there's a budget deficit to deal with. But I feel like this should be given some more time, maybe another year, to actually see what enrollment does in the Bellevue area. I mean, a lot of the COVID-related disruptions are normalizing, and in some ways, it might just so happen that enrollment actually trends up next year. So it just feels like a decision being made too fast, and to me it doesn't feel like a rational one if we are trying to rationalize based on budget related issues. The other issue I have is splitting the school up and sending them to 2 different elementaries and basically busing them across, maybe taking 30, 45 minutes from where they live often, which for kids that young, I feel is onerous on them. So in many ways, I'm hugely disappointed with the process and with how the decision-making seems to have come about. And I would really like to fully understand the rationale behind it. And in my mind, I think this should be given some more time. Thank you.
Okay, I think I've got one more in the room, Mr. Stedman.
Good evening. My name is Edward Stedman. I'm a parent of 2 children at Wilburton, as well as I'm a district employee. Thank you very much for letting me speak tonight. I would like to echo some of what Megan had the bravery to come up here and say. I've had questions about the district's data. I've been asking about this, and I have yet to get answers as well. Page 6 of the district's own report shows that enrollment will decline, but then after closing 3 of our schools, that enrollment somehow increases by 63 students. Speaking of my own personal situation, I don't think that would be the case. Me being a parent choosing to move their children into the district, it's pushing me away. I don't know where my kids are going to go next year. As a parent, it's very frustrating. And as a district employee, it's embarrassing. I think we need to slow down. We need to relook at all this data and come up with other solutions. Closing the school would be a mistake. Thank you.
Thank you to everyone who has spoken in person tonight. We're going to move to online comments now. And thank you, Jess. So our first speaker, I have clicked the button to enable you to turn on your microphone and camera. You'll have to turn them on yourself, and then we'll be able to see and hear you.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear. Please go ahead.
Okay. Hello, my name is Jamie Siddiqui. I'm a newly hired multi-language learner facilitator working currently at Bellevue High School and Wilburton Elementary. From the first week of working at Wilburton, I have been amazed at how diverse Wilburton Elementary School is. It's not just the students, it's the staff. Of course, with diversity brings cultures and language. Language is part of culture. Since the district announced the consolidation of Wilburton, it's been incredibly challenging. I know that I'm new to Wilburton, but I've never met such dedicated teachers whose skills cross social emotional learning, all types of subjects, kindness, acceptance, welcoming, but also STEM. I have attended all of the, I've been following this process and attending all of everything. I have not heard much mention of our multi-language learners. I have not heard much about this population. I work with a boy at Bellevue High School. When I started working around semester, I asked my students, if they have siblings, and I learned that his little brother is at Wilburton Elementary. These two boys, I'm not going to say where, but they have just arrived in the United States last year from a war. And now, if these plans go through, you're closing their school, and you're going to move them, I don't know where. I'm not quite sure. I just think that this is a reality that nobody has brought up and nobody has spoken about. So I'm sure there are more refugees at Wilburton. I don't know the number, but I would like you to please consider these students. Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker, I've clicked the button for you to be able to turn on your microphone and camera. So please go ahead and do that.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, cool. My name is Yang. I'm a parent of Wilburton. So I want to say everyone in the East Side are looking at how BSD makes the decisions. One of my friends has one kid right now in a private school due to the pandemic. Next year, they want to move both their two children back to the Wilburton. But now we are closing the school. That means enrollment decline is expected. People choose private school because of the public school's reputation. Can be bad, can be good, can be bad. And okay, another friend who lives in the Lake Washington district told me their classrooms are crowded. They also need to change the school boundaries. I don't think East Side has an enrollment issue. But people move to a place because of the school reputation. Here, we only have the parents of the Wilburton. We don't have potential parents here. So BSD are making decisions. Everyone are looking at BSD. I want to say good reputation will pull people in, but bad reputation will push them away. I would like to suggest BSD think carefully. Closing school has huge negative impact. So close school maybe will be a reason for decline in enrollment in the future. That's what I want to say. Thank you.
Julia, please go ahead. So Julia, if you're speaking, we can't hear you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move to our next speaker. And Julia, if you want to email me and try and do some troubleshooting, we're happy to come back after our next speaker, which will be Lindsay Hartzell.
Hi there. My name is Lindsay Hartzell, and I'm a parent at Eastgate. And just listening to all these folks from Wilburton, it's so hard because if Eastgate closes, I want to send my kid to Wilburton. Like, what an amazing school. And I'm left with, after listening to all the public commenting over this week, that it's so obvious that there's no way to ethically or equitably close these 3 schools in the allotted time. So the question I'm left with is, does the board think that this is the very best solution that we could possibly come up with? And is hurting all these kids' education worth dealing with the financial problems as quickly as possible, rather than as thoughtfully as possible? Is that money worth more than our kids' experience of life? Is that money worth more than standing for integrity and equity? I know the district's team has painted a very bleak future, but what could possibly be worse than this for these kids, for these families, these teachers, these entire communities? Are the repercussions to the students' academic futures worth getting this all over with fast and dirty? Or is avoiding all this harm worth the district members having to work harder and longer on this? And I think if you can't believe in the complete integrity of the district team's work, 100%, all of it, without a doubt, you cannot responsibly approve this plan. Too much harm weighs in the balance. And I know you guys are faced with a difficult situation, but I also know that you do stand for integrity and equity, and that's why you're there. And that has to be the very most important thing in all of this. We cannot send the message that money is worth giving up on those things. That's all. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Lindsay. I've had an email that our next speaker, Zoya, will be speaking on behalf of Julia Cooper. So thank you for giving me that information, and please go ahead.
Yeah, of course. I'll be speaking for Julia and for myself. I'll first share what Julia has to say. She and I know each other because we're both, I was a paraeducator at Wilburton, and she is currently a paraeducator and has been working there for many years. She says her and I worked together last year, and we worked specifically with a Ukrainian child, 6 years old boy, whose family escaped from the war in Ukraine and came to Wilburton in April. She and I were put immediately to help
I'm
him
sorry,
adjust.
we did, apologies. You may not have heard our initial piece, but
Oh, I didn't.
we need to be very careful about describing students unless we
Okay.
have their explicit consent. So if you'd like, we're happy to go to another speaker, come right back to you to give you a chance if you want to modify anything that you'd
I
planned.
just won't mention it again.
Okay, no problem. Okay, why
Yeah.
don't, go ahead and continue. We'll adjust the time if we need to. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So basically we were just like helping in terms of the classroom, and we noticed in general helping kids adjust to a new life was really part of the Wilburton experience, not just for some of the specific kids we were helping, but that was just because of the diversity. So our staff in Wilburton does everything and beyond to help students who suffer to feel better, happy, and included inside of the community. So she says that you can't close such a great school community. Yeah, and so I guess I'll speak a little bit on my behalf. Is that I remember working there, and I think it was the best working experience that I've ever had in my life. And the people that I was working with were just so dedicated and devoted to the students, not because it was a paycheck or because it was simply just like what their career had evolved into, but because they cared individually about each student and each family and what their needs were, and would go above and beyond to help them. And I remember my coworkers very fondly, and I see some of their names. And so I'm really happy that they're still there, and I hope that this message of like not closing this school will really prevail, because I can't imagine them working anywhere else or being anywhere else serving the kids, and I can't imagine where else the kids would be distributed to, because it would just break apart a really big family of of important people and a really great community. So thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you. Yona, please go ahead.
Hi, my first grader goes to Wilburton. My name is Yona Park. We just moved to this area from California in last January. We've never been visited this area or heard of this school or anything, but I've been doing research through my fellow moms by emailing that this school district has a great system. And then whatever I've been hearing this whole meeting, and whatever all the teachers and then the parents say about the school system and the community, the culture, that's all true. I could already tell. I've been only been in like a month or so. And I think closing the school is really easy, but planning to build school like this, the facility, and having these staff and faculty members and all the parents and the community and all these nice, kind kids, it's not easy. It takes more time and more money. So I really hope that this school doesn't close. And my son, he's only a first grader, but he already feels that he's welcomed and he's been taken care of, and he loves his class and teacher so much. Thank you.
For our next speaker, I will say that if you are online and wish to speak, now is the time to raise your hand. We have one speaker left. If you are in the room and you haven't spoken yet and you wish to speak, now is the time to come over to my table and let me know. Thank you. Jordan, I'm going to click the button now and you can go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
We can hear you, thank you.
Thank you. Hi, thank you for your time. My name is Jordan Nova. I'm a teacher at Wilburton Elementary, and I am also a parent of a first grader there, which is why I wasn't able to be in attendance tonight. I worked at Woodridge Elementary for 9 years, and then I was transferred to Wilburton this last year due to low enrollment at Woodridge. I, like my husband, who is also an educator at Wilburton and who you heard speak earlier about being transferred from Woodridge, was heartbroken. They were and still are my family. That said, I have been welcomed into Wilburton with completely open arms. They have given me all the tools, the training. You've heard them speak about how this STEM training is not something that you can get familiar with overnight, but they are so patient and so passionate and have been so helpful in that training for me. I've received the support I need to feel that I'm included and valued and part of their community. And it's made it feel like my community. They knew when I arrived that I had lost something truly special to me, and they have treated me with love, kindness, and respect. Staff at Wilburton truly understand that inclusion is an action word, and they take that action every single day for their staff, their teachers, their families, and most especially their students. It has been inspiring in more ways than I can describe. After my experience, I have every confidence that Wilburton could and would, and hopefully will, welcome more students and teachers into our school with your help and support. I'm torn about what steps should be taken to address the budget shortfalls, and I know that the answer will impact many school communities in a difficult way. I have to say that I feel strongly it would be a mistake to close Wilburton. Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan. Our next speaker is going to be Diana Cardona. And Diana, I'm clicking the button right now to let you turn on your mic and camera.
Hi, good night. Wilburton is more than a school, it's a family for us. We are foreign and it's really hard to find people good here. You know, my son, he has several problems with the speech delayed, and he feels like his school, he belongs to the schools, and we do as well. So please save our school. We are more than school. We are a family. We are a community. Please, thank you.
Thank you. Amber Suter is next, and then we have one in-person speaker.
Hi there. I don't know if you all can see me, but I'm currently standing out on my back porch where I am about roughly 100 yards away from Wilburton's playground. I share a property line, a fence. I hear the kids playing all day. I have two young boys that are in the preschool. They're twins at the preschool at Wilburton. And we dealt with the construction for 2 years. And when we had the boys, we were so excited. We had all of these years to look forward to literally walk feet away and walk our sons to school through 5th grade. And we were so excited when we got into Wilburton. And now it feels that's being taken away for faulty data and not listening and hearing out the voices that you've heard today. So I encourage.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you. Since you asked if we could see you, I wanted to let you know that we cannot, that your camera is not turned on. Sorry to interrupt.
No worries. When you said camera, I wasn't sure if you could see me, but I just wanted to paint the visual that I share a fence line with Wilburton. And now you're asking me to get my kids in a car and 20 minutes each way for 40 minutes over the day, drive them across a freeway to another school that we don't have a choice of when we can walk our kids to school, which that is valued. So I encourage you to keep Wilburton open. We love the school. We love the teachers. Thank you.
Me? Hi, we're ready for you. Do you want to just turn on your microphone? Thank you.
Okay. I'm Leanne Gadati. I'm the current president of the Wilburton Community Association. I have lived and worked in the neighborhood since 1998. I'm a real estate agent, so I've got several different perspectives on the value of having a community elementary school in the neighborhood. I'm a BSD parent, one for another year and a half. Ironically, my kids went to Puesta del Sol, so we never had
the opportunity to do a community elementary school. And I'm telling you, it makes a difference because my kids did not develop the friendships with the kids in the neighborhood. They had their own set of kids, friends, but it was a different experience. And having the opportunity to have a community school in your community with the kids that you play with, the kids that are your neighbors, is invaluable. I think we've heard over and over again, the issue that has come up is the data. One of the issues, the data and the process. I went on the website. I was looking for the data that some of these decisions are based on, and I couldn't find anything. The one thing that I did notice was in Melissa DeVita's presentation about home values, which of course I'm aware of, was not accurate. And she was basing the information on Redfin data, which is not terribly accurate a lot of times. And if the whole process, the decision process is based on data that's not accurate, then how can you know that the decisions that you're making are going to be reflective of what is really needed and what's really going on? So I'd ask that you slow down, look at the data more carefully, listen to the input before you make a decision. Thank you.
Hello, schoolwork. My name is Zhen Mu. I have kids in Wilburton, fourth grade. So I know the big decision is made based on data. And I just heard from the lovely lady, the school administrator manager, he provides different data than what is in your BSD school report. So I'm asking BSD school employee to answer the question or answer the query from this lady to double check the data. If the data never be audited again, now it's time to audit. And the BSD school board should make the decision based on the correct data. Thank you.
I have no one else in the room who's indicated that they'd like to speak, and folks online, I don't see any more raised hands.
Okay, so I'm going to just give everybody 30 seconds, which will seem like a very long time, but we're going to go ahead and just wait in case anybody wishes to be inspired who has not spoken yet. And after we wait that 30 seconds, we will then recess our hearing with our things. So we'll just pause a second. You guys can talk for a few seconds and then we'll come right back. Okay, Ms. Worth, is there anybody who has otherwise come to you or let you know?
There is not.
Okay, so having checked in the room and online, we have no more speakers. So at this time, we would like to just simply thank all of you, both those who joined us online and those in person, for taking the time to come, for sharing your thoughts, candidly and honestly. This recesses our hearing, but as you have heard, the time when we will be discussing decisions and new recommendations will be in coming meetings on March 6th, 9th, and then finally on the 16th. So thank you. With that, our meeting is adjourned.